Alright, let's talk about Daniel Rodriguez's brutal knockout loss at UFC Belgrade, because this story is way more than just a 30-second fight. Let me ask you this. How do you come back from 8 months in a Mexican prison and then immediately headline a UFC event? That's the kind of question that makes me pause and go, wait, what's the bigger picture here? So, here's the setup. Rodriguez, a 39-year-old fighter with a 10-5 UFC record, steps into the Octagon after over a year away. His return? A headliner against Uros Medic in Serbia. And boom, he's out cold in half a minute. But here's the twist. His post-fight statement might be more compelling than the fight itself. Let me break this down. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. Rodriguez's decision to take this fight. He admits he was way out of shape coming out of prison. Prison. Not a training camp. Not a hiatus. Prison. So, imagine trying to negotiate your comeback fight while still dealing with the physical and mental toll of incarceration. What's fascinating here is the duality of this situation. On one hand, you've got a guy who's clearly resilient, overcoming legal chaos and still making it back to the UFC. But on the flip side, is this the smartest move? Fighting a power-punching welterweight like Medic in his home country when you're not 100%? Personally, I think this reveals a deeper issue in combat sports, the pressure fighters feel to prove themselves immediately after adversity, even when the odds are stacked. Now, let's dissect that 30-second knockout. Medic's power is undeniable. Seriously, the guy's got one-punch knockout ability. But here's what stood out to me. Rodriguez's admission that he loaded up on the jab. That tells me he was trying to force the action, maybe compensate for a lack of conditioning by swinging for the fences. And Medic beat him to the punch. Which raises a question. Was this loss inevitable given his circumstances, or could better fight IQ have salvaged the round? I'd argue the latter. Even when you're not in peak shape, veteran fighters like Rodriguez should know how to survive early exchanges. But hey, hindsight's 20/20ths. What I find most intriguing is Rodriguez's attitude afterward. He's proud of overcoming prison. He's upfront about the risks. He's hurting, but he's not broken. That raw honesty? It's rare in a sport where fighters often default to cliches like, I'll be back better. Rodriguez is essentially saying, yeah, I messed up, but I'm still here. And that vulnerability makes him oddly relatable. In an era where UFC fighters are increasingly polished and PR trained, his unfiltered perspective feels refreshing, even if it comes after a loss. But let's zoom out. This fight encapsulates the unpredictability of MMA. You've got a guy with a 3-fight win streak, a veteran of 26 pro fights, getting finished in half a minute. That's the beauty and brutality of combat sports. One mistake, one split second, and the narrative flips entirely. What's Rodriguez's legacy now? He's only lost twice by knockout in his career, but both came after significant breaks. Does that suggest a pattern? Or is that reading too much into it? From my perspective, it highlights how mental sharpness matters as much as physical readiness. Prison isn't just physically draining, it's mentally destabilizing. Could that have affected his in-fight decisions? So, where does this leave us? Rodriguez has already hinted at a return. But here's the deeper takeaway. His story isn't just about fighting. It's about human resilience, flawed decision-making, and the razor-thin line between comeback and collapse. And that's what makes this loss unforgettable. Not the knockout itself, but the layers beneath it. What do you think? Should Rodriguez get another title shot after this? Or is it time to rethink how we measure a fighter's comeback potential? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation's just getting started.